One of the most watched videos on my YouTube channel covered the topics of the Behringer Xenyx Q802 USB budget mixer. I've done a few videos on them, and for all those years I still get lots of questions about that mixer, and I do try to answer them as much as I can. But there are questions where I cannot answer, only because a couple of years ago I gave away the mixer as a prize on my YouTube channel. And to answer all of those questions, recently I went ahead and purchased another mixer from Behringer, this time the Xenyx Q802USB, so that I'll be able to demonstrate and make videos to answer those questions that I get asked all the time. Now, I did purchase this mixer with my own money, so these videos are not sponsored by Behringer or anybody else. And I hope that these videos will help you out to understand how the mixers work. So if you are deciding to purchase one or you have one, it will guide you through. In this video, I'm going to do a quick overview of the mixer and why I've chosen the Q802 USB on top of the Q502 USB. And in the end of the video, I will give my personal opinion as well. So let's talk about why I purchased the Q802 USB instead of the 502 USB. Well, there are several reasons. One of them is, of course, you get the extra microphone input and extra stereo line level input, so more channels to work with. And also, and more importantly, is the phantom power for condenser microphones. Now, in my Q502 USB videos, I did demonstrate that it only supplies 15 volts as phantom power. But for most condenser microphones, 15 volts is way too low. And even though it will make it work, but it'll be very noisy. But the Q802 USB actually supplies 48 volts phantom power. That means the condenser microphone that you plug into will have its full dynamic range and work as expected. And of course, thirdly, we do have this FX send secondary bus that we can use to send a signal from any of the channels to an outboard effects gear like a reverb or delay, or even as a monitoring system if you are using this for live performances. So it's really great, and the price margin is so little that if you are deciding whether to get the Q502 or the 802, save that extra money and spend it on getting the Q802 USB.
Let's have a look. What does the Behringer Xenyx Q802 USB audio mixer and interface provide us? It has two balanced XLR microphone input or TRS balanced jack line level inputs for two channels. It also has two stereo balanced jack line level inputs. It has a main mixer stereo output. It also has control room and headphone output. It also has RCA unbalanced CD and tape stereo input and output. It has an FX send per channel, as well as FX return or auxiliary input, and can be connected to your computer as a stereo 2-in, 2-out USB audio interface. Let's have a look at the microphone channels. We can connect an XLR balanced microphone, and it's identical for channel 2. We can also connect a balanced line level input. These are great for guitar pedals or line level mono signals. Then we have the channel's gain control, which gives up to 60 dB of gain for microphones and up to 40 dB of gain to the line input. Though physically you can connect a microphone and a line level input, I would not advise it because it can drastically change the quality of the audio coming in. The channel is followed by the one knob compressor. Really great to control the dynamics of the incoming audio signal. Great for vocals. Then we have the EQ section, and the high frequency is 12 kHz shelf with plus and minus 15 dB cut and boost. And then we have a mid-range, which is at 2.5 kHz. Again, 15 dB cut and boost. Then we have the low shelf at 80 Hz. Again, 15 dB plus and minus. Followed by the FX send knob. This taps into the channel's signal and sends out to the FX send socket. Being an FX send, this is post the level or the fader of the channel. This is normal operation for effects. So as you turn the channel volume down using the level, the effects will also go down. Followed by the channel's pan to place the incoming mono signal in the stereo image, left or right or center. Next to that we have the clip LED. It lights up when the incoming signal is far too loud and is being distorted. It's okay for every now and then to light up, but make sure that it doesn't come on too often. And finally we have our channel level or the fader that controls the overall volume of that channel being sent into the main section, into the main mix. For the stereo channels 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, they have 2 jacks. By connecting only to the left, we can still send a mono signal into the stereo channel, which split the mono incoming signal into the stereo bus. Of course, connecting to left and right, we get the stereo signal. The EQ section is the same as the other channels, and then followed by the effects send. Channels 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 being a stereo signal, and the effects send bus is a mono bus, the left and right are summed or joined together before they are sent to the effects send. And then it's followed by a balance. This allows you to control the balance between the left and the right. And finally, our channel level or fader. All the channels are mixed and summed to the main mix, and the overall volume is controlled by the main mix knob. And the output is sent to the main output socket. These are unbalanced outputs for left and right. Normally connects to the main speakers. Then we have our phones and control room. This is the level that adjusts amount of signal being sent to your headphones as well as the control room output. The amount of signal sent to the phones and the control room is post main mix. That means that if you have your main mix turned down, you won't get any signal into your headphones or your control room, no matter how loud you turn it up. So the signal sent to your headphone is after the main mix, then controlled by the control room and headphone level. The control room outputs are again unbalanced output that can be connected to another set of monitors or speakers. And also we have our headphone stereo output. The combined effects send signals from each of the channel is sent out to the effects send unbalanced jack output. You can use this connection to connect external effects unit like reverb and delays, or even stage monitoring system. And if you are using effects module, the output of those effects module can be connected into the auxiliary return, and this is a stereo signal. And if the return is a mono, you can again plug into the left channel, and the mono signal will be split into the stereo bus of the main mix. If it's not used for such purpose, you can use these two inputs as additional input into your mixer, and the incoming volume is controlled by the auxiliary return knob. The 48-volt phantom power button will provide 48 volts to condenser microphones that can be connected on channels 1 and 2. Both channels 1 and 2 receive the phantom power. Please check your microphone manual to make sure that 48 volts phantom power will not damage them before you turn on the 48 volt phantom power on the mixer. The RCA line level stereo inputs, where you can connect CD players or digital players, will feed the audio into the main mix bus or into the control room, depending on the USB 2-track optional buttons we're going to look at in just a moment. The RCA line level stereo outputs can be connected to cassette decks or digital recorders to record the output of the main mix. This is also dependent on the USB 2-track button options we're going to look at in just a moment. The USB 2-track to main mix button, when pressed down, the USB in or the RCA in is sent to the main mix bus. But at the same time, once you press it, the RCA output is cut out, as well as any USB audio being sent to the PC. The USB 2-track to phones and control room button, when it's pressed, the USB in or the RCA in is sent to the control room headphone output. A quick example of what the USB 2-track phone's control room button would be. In an up position, you're telling the mixer that you want to listen on your headphones or in your control room output what's being played on the main mix. So whatever the audience is listening from the main out speakers, that is what you're listening. And when you press it down, you're simply telling the mixer that you want to listen to whatever audio that is coming into the RCA input or the playback from your PC via the USB. You can't listen to the main mix and the USB at the same time. It's one or the other. And the to main mix button, if it's in the up position, that means the audio coming in from the RCA or from your computer from the USB is just sent nowhere. And when you press it down, you're telling the audio that's on the RCA in or the USB audio is being sent to the main mix. An example would be if you had MP3 player connected to the RCA in or a background music being played on your PC. By pressing the to main mix down button, you'll be able to send that music and audio to the main out speakers.
If you want to learn how to actually set up the channel's gains and faders, what level they should be to get the best sound, I do have a video on the Q502 USB explaining, and the procedure is exactly the same. So that video shows you how to gain stage the gain levels as well as the fader using our LED level meter so that you get clean and noiseless audio going to your speakers, or more importantly, going to your DAW in your computer. I will leave a link in the description. You can click and watch that video. So what do I think of the Behringer Xenyx Q802 USB mixer? Well, primarily they are designed for live performance mixers. And only later on in the design they've actually added the USB. They basically paralleled to the RCA inputs and outputs, the two-track in and out. Because initial revisions of these mixers did not have the USB. And so that allows someone using it for live performance to be able to record their performance on a computer as a stereo signal and then be able to play background music through its USB connections rather than purchasing the additional RCA to USB converter thing, which I've done a video on. So that becomes much handy. Only one USB connection at the back and it's all good. The dynamic range of these mixers are not that high. The noise floor of this mixer is about 85-86 dB. Now, compared to other audio interfaces, which are designed for recording, that's quite high in noise. Those audio interfaces would be anywhere between 96 to 106 dB signal to noise ratio, where this one is about 85-86. So you'll be able to hear some noise no matter what you do with these mixers. Because, as I mentioned, these are primarily designed for live performance. And for live performance, 86 dB is not a problem. You've got a couple of microphones and a couple line level inputs, maybe a keyboard and a microphone, all good. No one's going to hear that noise. The noise becomes apparent when you start recording more than one track. So you record your guitars, then you record your vocals, then the bass, then the drums and keyboards, synths, strings, whatever. That as you add more and more channels, signal from the mixer, the noise will add up and you'll be able to hear it. Maybe once you reach up to 10 tracks, from then on you'll be able to hear it. So it's not the best mixer for that purpose. And of course, there's the other issue of these buttons. So while you wanting to record a new track and while listening to a pre-recorded track or the previous track, you can't do that with these buttons option. There is a workaround, but it's not really designed for multi-track recording as well. So that is a pain. And that's one of the most common questions I get asked. Why can't I hear my backing track while I'm trying to record my microphone, me singing? So I can hear the music, but not my singing, or I can hear my voice, but not the backing track. So there is a workaround, and I will leave a link in the description about zero latency monitoring and multi-track recording, which I've done with the Q502, and it's the same. So basically, I wouldn't highly recommend it for home recording, but if you are on a tight budget and you need something to get your audio in, then sure, you can give it a try and see how you go. But if you're primarily wanting to record, you are much better off buying an audio interface rather than this mixer. And construction wise, it's metal top, metal bottom, and just plastic bits on the side. The knobs are typical Behringer knobs, nothing too fancy. The sockets are just as good. So build wise, it's solid build. There's nothing to it. Yeah, I think that's about it as far as my opinion on the Behringer Xenyx Q802 USB mixer / audio interface. Well, that's it. I hope the information was useful. If you have any questions, this is the whole purpose of this video. Comment below. I will be hanging out in the comment section looking for all those questions about the Xenyx Q802 USB mixer. And if I can answer, I will answer. If it requires a video demonstration, I will be making a video demonstration video. So make sure you subscribe so that you can follow up and watch those videos and get your answers. And till next time, as always, thanks for watching and have a great time making music. Cheerio, guys.